video, in today's class, we'll be looking at the writing process. Just like everything in life, writing is also a process. Writing takes different processes and which is part of a system. Just like getting admission in school, you need to write, you need to go through primary school, secondary school, down to writing WAEC, passing WAEC, writing JAM, passing JAM, and then applying to university, writing your post-UME before you eventually get the admission. You see, that is a process into a system. So into the writing system, generally there are different processes, and in this particular video, the part 2 of writing your first application, we will be looking at the writing process. So in my class, I was taught during my course, when I was taking it, I was taught that writing has 3 basic stages. The process of writing has 3 basic stages. We have pre-writing, writing, and revision. That's what I was taught. But based on my experience, which has been for the past 8 years now, I'd like to include 2 more stages: the idea stage or the imagination stage, and the proofreading stage into the writing process. So for this particular class, the writing process is in 5 stages. We have 1, the idea stage; 2, the pre-writing stage; 3, the writing stage; 4, the revision stage; and 5, the proofreading stage. And I will go over this briefly so we can sweep into the main course. Now, the idea stage or the imagining stage, just as the name sounds, it is when you are thinking of a particular research or that particular topic you've been given. You're envisioning it, you're imagining the entire article in your mind and trying to see what is going to come out of it. This is a part where you do some critical thinking about your research. This is where you want to unravel and begin the whole process of putting it down. Like this is the stage where it becomes like, okay, I want to start writing. This, to me, this is like the most important step, because it is the process, is the father of all other processes. Now, this step in writing processes are considered the most important, because yes, it's the origin of other processes. Like I've said, we know that from the abundance of the art, the mouth speaks. Then, in this case, the hand writes. So thinking about what you want to pen down brings about clarity for you and your prospective reader. So after choosing a research topic or having the idea in mind, after you'll be given a research topic, which is what you're thinking about, the next stage is to go into the pre-writing stage. Next stage, go to the pre-writing stage. Now, the pre-writing stage, for me, this is the toughest of all the writing processes, because it takes time and takes a lot of effort. Sometimes I just want to skip this process, because I want to skip this process and just start writing. But for us to build a solid building, you need a wonderful foundation. And I call this writing stage the foundation building stage, the foundation of the writing stage, because if of the writing process, the foundation. So in this stage, you want to look for what other scholars have talked about your research. You need to find out what other scholars are writing about your research. There's something that you need to know. It is called research for a reason, meaning that whatever you want to do has been written before. That's a background, and if you do not find what others have been saying about your research, you might just say something that is not factual. So what you're going to do is to conduct deep search for books, articles, journals on your topic that is related to your topic or on your topic. You want to make sure these books and articles are cited and are relevant and are up to date. When I mean up to date, it means you should not be more than 10 years of age. Meaning that since we're in 2025 now, if you want to write your research, anything you're citing or going to put in your reference should be relevant and should not be older than 2015. So anything between 2014 and backward, if it's appearing too much in your work, will not be accepted. The next thing, number 2, you want to look at, you want to look for claims, method, findings, and conclusion that may align with your study. Now, like I said before, it is called research for a purpose. There is a method that people have been using before to carry out a particular purpose, a particular research. For every research, be it in the field of sciences or social sciences or finance or in finance, there are processes to which they carry out their research. Some use interview method, some use quantitative, some use qualitative, some use questionnaire. Some have to go to the laboratory, some have to carry field work. They have a particular method. So look at the method. Some have to use a combination of all of them to do that kind of do their research. So find method and conclusion. Look at how it's aligned with your study. Then the next thing you need to find gaps to fill. This is where you identify a research problem. And how do you identify the research problem? You identify a research problem by doing a lot of reading. If you don't read for your research, you won't be able to find a particular problem. Now, I like to use this example, 2 examples. The first example I used was somebody was going to write about tomato. Yeah, fungi spoilage of tomato, the fungi that spoils tomato. And this is something that is common knowledge everywhere. Research has been done more than some years back. So remember, what you are citing has to be relevant to, has to be cited and has to be within 10 years. Now, she was having issues with getting new citations because this study is an old study on fungi in tomato. But now, there are two issues that were solved. First of all, I had to tell her okay, tomato is a berry. When I look for other berries that were recently searched, which will serve as a background of study. And 2, in these people that have looked at tomato in the past few years, what area didn't they look at? Look at the fungi in tomato in the past few years. What area didn't they look at? Now, it could be location. For our own case, it was location. For you, it could be maybe they did not identify down to species level. Or for you, the method they used was not good enough and you need to identify to a particular family or particular phyla. Maybe they just identify microorganism, they did not identify the phylum. You need to look for a particular phylum or different phylum, or you need to know the spoilage processes, So you need to identify the problem. Look at under researched areas in these different journals or different books that you've gotten. Then you fill that gap. This is where you fill the gap. When you are doing this, you need to highlight them, copy and paste them in a separate document. But for me, I still print and highlight that this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem, and then I'll find a way to organize them together. The next phase after doing that is to organize your writing. So as you read through the document and picking out points, you should know which one goes where. So you should know which section will be your introduction, which section will be in your method, which section will be in your and which section of the introduction, because introduction have different sections, and we'll go into that later. Let me not go into details right now. And if you are publishing, the next thing for you to do is to look for the right journal to use. Look for the right journals to use. Then after doing this will save you a lot of time and to take you into the next phase. The next phase is the writing stage. The writing stage, the elements of good writing come to play. And remember, in the last class I mentioned that elements of good writing is to make sure that you are communicating your ideas clearly and effectively in the concise, simplest way possible. I think that is one of the reasons why most of my clients work with me, because I tend to discuss their project or their analysis in the way that is simple. I try to keep it as simple and as straightforward as possible. That way it is relatable to the lecturer. The readability is very, very smooth. Even to the layman, they understand what I'm talking about. Now, the writing stage will be so easy because you've done so much in the pre-writing stage. You've done all your gathering, you've done all your organization, you've done everything that needs to be done in the pre-writing stage. And what is the writing stage? The writing stage is where you structure your writing. You know the introduction, the background of study, the statement of the problem, the justification of the problem. Now, you have done all those different sectioning. You are structuring your writing in the writing processes. And when you're writing, you should not focus, do not worry so much about perfection and elegance. This will distract you in your writing, and then you start getting scared. And that is one thing that happens. We are so focused, we're so focused on making our work look so perfect and sound so intelligent in the writing stage that we get lost and let fear creep in. Now, also remember that the structure of writing. When you're structuring writing, we'll talk about this much later in the course. Then after putting these things down and completing your writing, you move to the next stage. The next stage is called the revision stage. In the revision stage, you want to go back to the beginning and read your manuscript aloud. Reading aloud makes it easier for your brain to spot errors than when you read silently. Now at this point, you are more calm, you're no longer stressed, you're no longer in a haste to finish. So you are at ease, and this will allow you to concentrate on elegance and perfection. Remember, you don't concentrate on elegance and perfection in the writing stage. You do elegance and perfection in the revision stage. If you try to combine the revision stage and writing stage together, everything will just cut in your head. And that if you try to combine the pre-writing stage, the writing stage, and the revision stage together, everything will just look so clumsy in your face. So what are you looking to make in the revision stage? You're looking to make massive structural changes in your manuscript. Here you can change the entire section, you can paraphrase, you can remove ambiguous words, you can check if whatever you put there are factual, you can change the problem of the study, you can change the justification. Change the entire object of the paper. You may make so many changes as much as you do. Do not try and revise at the same time. So I recommend that you do your writing first, then you come to revision later. The next stage you're looking at is the proofreading stage. The proofreading stage where you're like, okay, I'm done writing. Do not drop your glasses if you use glasses a lot. Then this is the easiest stage. Yeah, there's no deep changes needed, just simple typographical errors, misspelled words, consistent use of tenses. The good thing about proofreading is that you may not choose to do it yourself. You can give it to someone else, and the person doesn't have to be in your field of study. The person doesn't have to be a medical lab scientist, or the person don't have to be a lawyer. Just give that person, that is even better, so the person can check for consistent use of tenses, look at ambiguous words and ask questions. Then another way I proofread is to use AI. I use AI to proofread, to check for typos, misspelled words and all of that, and if I use my tenses correctly. So what I highly recommend is that you give somebody to help you do the proofreading, because you're already tired from writing and your stages and all of that stuff. So in conclusion, I hope that this will open your mind to see that writing, academic writing, writing publications is generally possible for anybody. So I like to say anybody can learn to write. I'll see you in another one.